everyone, it's Vici here. So today I just wanted to discuss something that I've thought about in recent times in the process of trying to make the assignments that I've been doing for uni less painful, because I found them sometimes quite difficult to sit down and do. So I tried to come up with a way to make it easier to do. So this is sort of what I did. So the first thing I did was to make a chart. So on the vertical axis we have the difficulty, how difficult the actual thing is, what it is you need to do. So the skills required, the time it's going to take to learn, the knowledge, and so on. And then on the horizontal axis we have interest, so how interesting I find the task, how engaged I am with the task. So generally we have a natural tendency to do things that are easy and that we're interested in. So there's going to be a natural tendency for us to do things that are in the bottom right part of the chart, and we're going to move away from the things that are in the top left, as shown by the color gradient. So let's say that you're given a task at some point in the top left of the chart, and we want to find a way to move it into the green. So what we can try and do is to make the task easier, but that's impossible because the task requires a certain skill level. You can't lower the skill level required to do the task, because then you wouldn't do the task. So what we can do then is to try and change our interest level. So if you find a way to make the task more interesting, then it'll move more into the green. So how do I make things more interesting to me? So I imagine all of the things that I know in a network. The nodes are the actual topics, and the connections between them are the relationship between the topics. So that's what makes it interesting. Things in isolation are not interesting. It's when things become connected, it's what makes them interesting. So if you have letters on their own, the letters aren't very interesting. But if you put letters together, you can make a word. And words on their own are not particularly interesting. But when you put words together, you make a sentence. So it's the connection between things that makes something interesting. So if you get given a task that's far out, the thing that makes it not interesting is that it's not related to other things. If you can't see a way to relate that topic to other things, it's just going to be boring and it's not going to be something that's relevant to you. So if you can find a way to connect that with other things, it'll make the task more interesting. So for example, psychology. When I was 15, I had almost no interest in psychology. I was mainly interested in maths. So I saw psychology as just something. It was abstracted from me. There was no link. But then certain things happened, and then links were created between psychology and my situation. So then psychology became interesting to me. So I didn't necessarily learn anything more about psychology. I still knew what it was both before and after these events, but after the event I saw psychology as linked to me, and that's what made it interesting. And then further on, this has happened with like economics and like politics. Previously, I always saw economics and politics as just some abstract thing that, oh, I don't do economics and politics, I do maths. But now I'm increasingly interested because I'm increasingly seeing how those things are relevant to me. So I'm becoming more interested in them because I'm seeing them as relevant. So that's been my experience with making difficult tasks interesting for me, and it's actually quite useful in any domain. If something is difficult, if I can be creative enough to find a way to make that difficult task relevant and interesting to me, the difficulty of that task goes down. Of course, it still requires the same amount of skill, but I actually enjoy doing it as opposed to not enjoying it. That's all for today's video. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you found it interesting and useful, and if you've had similar experiences when trying to deal with difficult tasks, please feel free to leave them in the comments. It's been a while since I've uploaded to YouTube, about a year and a half or something. I have lots of video ideas that are just floating around, so now I'm actually making them. So stay subscribed, and I'll see you guys next time.